Hey everybody, Casey here with Life Abstract Gaming. This week I thought we could talk about one of the best game franchises I've ever played, the Mass Effect series. Mass Effect Andromeda, the newest installment in the franchise, will be releasing on March 21st. It'll be a short while before I can get my hands on that, so let's instead go back and reminisce about the previous games. Mass Effect is a third-person shooter RPG hybrid developed by BioWare. It follows the player-created character Commander Shepard on a dire mission to save the galaxy from an ancient machine race that purges all organic life every 500 millennia. Though that premise is pretty standard video game plot, Mass Effect was truly unique in that it was created from the very start with the idea of being a trilogy, where your in-game decisions would have rippling effects to the story, not just in the first game, but throughout all three. It's also on my personal list of best named properties for having a cool double meaning. I'll add why in the comments. Rather than deep dive into the plot of the games, I thought we could just skim over some of the biggest moments from all three, as well as some of the biggest reactions and controversies that came about due to the impact of a series of this magnitude. In Mass Effect 1, the player is able to create a man or woman of any race to be their personal Commander Shepard. Both genders were fully voiced, the male character by Mark Meer and the female by Jennifer Hale. Similarly to their previous game, Knights of the Old Republic, BioWare made heavy use of dialogue trees to have Shepard respond in different ways to the characters in the world, usually a good, bad, and neutral response. But the web of conversations would lead to very different interactions and outcomes depending on what you say and do. This also played into the romance subplot between certain characters, as well as homosexual and interspecies options, which opened the door to some controversy thanks to all that interaction leading up to possible sex scenes. While the in-game sex scenes were relatively mild, that didn't stop several conservative media outlets from slamming the title and outright lying about the level of obscenity in the game. Kevin McCullough, a blogger, was quoted as writing, "Mass Effect can be customized to sodomize whatever, whomever, however the game player wishes. And with its over-the-net capabilities, virtual orgasmic rape is just the push of a button away." None of that is true, and the second half of that statement, if you really think about it, makes no sense. Like, at all. Even the infamous anti-video game attorney Jack Thompson was compelled to call those claims absolutely ridiculous, and McCullough later issued an apology. Mass Effect 2 starts out with Commander Shepard, the same character you import from the last game, dying in the cold black of space. A radical human faction called Cerberus manages to reanimate your corpse and puts you to work trying to uncover more about the threat from the first game while assembling a team of misfits from a bunch of alien races to help you out. I think that Mass Effect 2 might actually be my favorite in the trilogy, thanks to its cast of possible crew members. Each one had a loyalty mission and side story, and if you followed through the right way, you could win that character's absolute trust. Whether or not you had a certain person's trust could drastically affect the end of the game, where your whole crew is tasked with taking on a relative suicide mission. That final mission was so dynamic, it gave you multiple moments to make choices on who needs to do what and how to react to the changing situation on the fly, leaving dead teammates at multiple junctures, or proving how incredible a commander you were by getting every single soul back unharmed. Mass Effect 3 concluded the story and brought all of the myriad choices you'd made throughout the series to a number of conclusions as you played through it. The entire game, especially the latter half, felt like a heartfelt goodbye to you, the player, from all the characters you journeyed with over the last 5 years. It even added a multiplayer mode that nobody asked for, but actually turned out to be incredibly fun and addictive. The biggest controversy for the entire Mass Effect series actually came here regarding the finale of this game. Players were upset because the final ending cutscenes seemed to come down to 3 choices that were the same 3 choices regardless of any previous decisions you'd made. Furthermore, the final cutscenes after you'd made a choice were almost identical to one another except for some color changes to beams of light. It was ultimately completely ambiguous, nonsensical, and disappointing. Fans were in fact so disappointed, they started a campaign called Retake Mass Effect and raised $80,000 for the charity Child's Play to petition BioWare to make the ending better. The fan backlash got so bad, a complaint was filed with the Federal Trade Commission, accusing BioWare of not delivering on its promises with that game. BioWare ultimately responded with a free, downloadable add-on of an extended cut that fleshed out the ending and tied up some plot holes, but didn't completely change it. I personally didn't take that much offense to the original ending, but did have to track down a few fan theories to give me some help understanding it, which isn't all that unheard of for any storytelling medium. But the extended ending really didn't add anything useful for me, and I kind of felt the whole fan backlash was extremely childish to say the least. Now, 4 years later, we're finally going to get more Mass Effect. Shepard's story is over and done with, and Mass Effect Andromeda will center around a new character on a mission to scout the galaxy for new planets for humanity to colonize. I'm very excited to get back into that world, and only hope it comes close to the greatness of the trilogy before it. What are your feelings about the Mass Effect trilogy? Do you have fond memories? Have you never played them? Or were you part of the Retake Mass Effect campaign? Are you excited about Mass Effect Andromeda? Let us know. We're listening.